Okay, now, who is looking for a full winter quilting experience? This winter Elevate quilt box is available now through March 18th with options starting at just $75 through our club stores or $99 to try it. Each box includes over $400 with tools, fabric, thread, and guided projects with everything you need to stay inspired all season long. It's the perfect way to learn, to quilt, and to grow in your quilting experience this winter.
Well, hello, everyone. It's Donelle McAdams. I am an accredited So Steady Westalee Design educator, and we are here for what's called Odd Monday. Now, I appreciate all of you that have joined me early tonight because I am in Indiana, and although I am a Purdue graduate, today everybody in Indiana is an Indiana Hoosier. So if you don't follow football, tonight's the big college game, and I wanted to be able to be there for it. So I appreciate you coming and joining us a little bit earlier tonight. So for those that might not have got the message, maybe we'll see them at 7 o'clock watching the review of this. So anyway, I am super excited about tonight's project because it's not necessarily a Valentine's project, but I'm sure making it one because I'm using Valentine fabric. So depending on how you make it with what fabrics, it can be any season. It would be really cute to do this maybe for Easter time and do the spring pastels or whatever. So again, fun, easy, that's me. And we're going to get started here. So the first thing we're going to be using is our Circles and Straights tool by So Steady. And if you don't have one, I think it's one you definitely want to get. So this is our mat, and I'm going to take it out. And this is the piece that we use. Looks like I have left my little pen. There's a pen more on here. And so I'm going to lay those aside, and I'll talk about the fabric and the requirements here in a minute. We'll take this one off. And as most of you know, I use that all the time. And we'll take the backing off of our Circles and Straights tool. And we're going to line this up so that the needle is in line with this line here, front and back, and across this way. It's extremely important on this one to get it lined up, because if you don't line it up, you're not going to have the exact size circle that you're shooting for. Now, some projects, that may not be so necessary, but we want to be able to do something exact. So I'm pushing that out there. I've got my regular foot on. And I need to make a 20-inch circle. Now, you could vary this. You could do whatever size you want. But I'm going to come out here to the number 20. Let's get out there so you can see it. And this is already set up so that when you put this on at the 20, it's actually only 10 inches from here to here. So that's going to make your perfect 20-inch circle. Now, what I'm using is a 21 by 21 inch square of fabric, and I am using 2 layers of fusible fleece, and I put the fusible side together. So the insides here are my fusible side, and then I've got a 20 by 20 inch or 21 by 21 inch on the back. Now, I already went ahead and determined my center. So there's an X right there that's going to go right on that pin. And I'm going to put that down. Uh-oh, there went my template. And we are going to be making a 20-inch circle here. So I'm just going to start, put that foot down. Those of you that know me, I have always like to put the foot down and the needle down into the fabric before I start anything. And this is just going to pull this around. We're kind of going to just pat this fabric and let it go. And I will tell you, before I started, this is a different one, but I looked at the back and these were not sticking at all. So I went in, put a little bit of water on it, kind of pressed it like that, back and forth, making sure it absorbs some of that. And then I just took a paper towel and wiped that off. So that piece right there is really clinging right now. So you can revive that if yours is not clinging by just doing that. Now I am using a thread that I was super excited to find in my quilting threads box. I've got them all separated, but I can't remember always what's in there. And it is a variegated pinks and magentas and kind of a purple, but not really, and reds. And it's working great for this project. I wanted a little bit, it's only 40 weight, but I wanted a little bit heavier thread than you might get from like a glide or something like that. But this is a great project to use a variegated thread with. Now I'm back to where I started and I just overlapped a little bit and I'm just going to cut my thread and I'm going to take that off. And that's really all I need my circle sewing for. Now, a little bit of information on this. I find the easiest way to get my bar here off is to pull this up and then it just kind of pops off. You saw that. It was really clinging. It's not easy to move, but when you take that up, it just kind of pops off. And I want to pass along as many hints to you that I can. And that's one that I have found really works. Now I'm going to share another hint with you that I saw over the weekend. I can't take credit for it. Some of you may have seen it too. I'm not sure what website it was on, but everybody is sharing it now. I don't know what I did with my little holder. There it is. So let's put these two things back where they go and get my mat back. And line it back up. Now the little hint I want to share with you has to do with bobbin winding. So I'm trying to find an empty bobbin. There's one right there. And I'm going to get a darker color of thread so that I can show you this easily. But if you have a bobbin like this that has the little holes in it, like right there's one, and if I flip it over, there's another one. This is an easy little hint to keep your thread from winding on the bobbin winder pen. So what you do is you take the thread and you're going from the center here. I'll get you right up here. And it comes right out the top of that hole. And this is now the top of the bobbin. It wouldn't have mattered before, but now that I came from that center and out that top, that's now the top. And then you take that thread, the end of it, and put it down through the center. And remembering that this is the top, you put this on the bobbin winder like that, and then simply cut this thread. Now my bobbin winder has a little slot right beside it that I can cut that on. So if yours does, you can do that, or you just cut this thread with scissors. And then when it starts winding, because this was in the middle, it's just going to be perfect. And for those of you that weren't with me, I guess I haven't told this to you guys yet. But what I like to do is I like to hold on to my thread as it's winding. After it gets started, I just kind of put my finger like this and at least 10 inches away from the bobbin and give it just a little bit more tension. So the thread has more tension on it, so it seems to wind more evenly. It seems to work better in all circumstances. So those are just a couple of hints that you might want to tag onto and try. So I'm going to show you real quickly again, because if you do it backwards, it's a mess. So again, if you have a bobbin that has those holes, you're just going to take your thread and come up through the hole from the center of the bobbin, like right where this is. Come up through there. I knew I was lucky the first time it went right in. And now that is the top. Okay. And then you're going to take this down through that center that goes on to the bobbin winder. Stick that on the bobbin winder. And then if your machine has a place you can cut it, use it to cut. If not, this is going to be held down tight against the winder. So you can simply just cut this little piece right here and it will start to wind nice and smooth. Great little hint. Like I said, I saw that over the weekend and I tried it this morning. I was like, "Ooh, I love this little hint." So I wanted to share that with you. So that's a little tip on that bobbin winder. Now, what are we going to do with this big circle here? Well, some of you are going, "Didn't you leave an opening to turn it?" No, because remember I said easy project. So we're going to take our pinking shears and we're going to cut about 1/4 of an inch away from that edge. And we're going to, because that's about all you have left if you have a 21-inch circle to start with. And if you don't have good pinking shears, I would tell you it's something to put on your wish list, because it's something that really makes it easy when we're doing circle projects. And I don't know if you've watched, but there are actually, if you go to Pinterest, there are so many people out there making custom lettering, especially for babies' rooms, where they just do this same process, only they trace a big letter and then they just cut out around this so that it forms a letter. They don't have to turn it or anything like that. And then they put them together either with some kind of a ribbon or a turned piece of fabric that creates a rope effect. And they're making big money, like $10 a letter on some of those things. So this is something that's pretty popular. You're not even going to see this edge when we're finished with it anyway. And I mentioned, you probably looked there in the comments, if you want this same fabric kit, you can email me, and it's in the comments there. You're going to use Donelle McAdams at gmail.com and just tell me you're interested in this fabric kit. Now, I'm going to only offer that for this week because I don't want the orders just trickling in, and like the day before Valentine's Day, I get orders. So let's say that if you have an order by the 25th, you really weren't going to order this anyway. The fabric kit will be $32.95, and it will include this fabric. Obviously, you got 2 of them there. And it will include, I don't want to give everything away yet, but it will include this red fabric that goes with it. These are Hoffman fabrics, and it will include this fabric that goes with it. And what are we going to do with those? We are going to set this piece aside, and I have layered up a 6-inch strip of one fabric with a 6-inch strip of the other fabric. And again, there are 2 layers of that fusible fleece. And when this gets pressed, obviously I'm going to press it. There's a crease right there. When this gets pressed, that fleece will get a little bit stiffer because the glue will go together. And the template that I'm using is the 4-inch, that's the 5-inch, is the 4-inch heart. Okay, now you could do this in any size, whatever you wanted, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making, I'm not sure how many it's going to take. I think probably about 12 if my measurements have served me correctly. And if you make the hearts one way and then you turn this the other way, you can get quite a few out of your strip. It's probably going to take you 2 strips to get what we need. But my stitching is going to be in here. So I'm going to have plenty of room to cut there. Now, it might be a good idea to change this foot. So I'm going to get my ruler foot. I know Stacy also put the link on there if you want to order the heart templates or any of the, the circle sewing tool, whatever. And I can't believe how cool it is that right up there in the corner of the screen, if you just put your camera on your phone right to that, it'll take you right there so that you can order things on Sew Steady's site. I'm not always up with all of this exciting technology. So what I'm going to do, I found for what we're doing, it's best to start in the top of the heart there. And I about freaked a while ago, you guys. I've been playing most of the day on different things, and my foot pedal quit working. And I was like, what am I going to do? So the first thing is, and I will tell you this is on anything, is just turn it off and start again. And that solved the problem. Didn't have to worry about that anymore. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going forward about 1/4 of an inch and back. So I lock that and tack it. I'm going to turn this whole thing around because what I want to do is be able to easily make sure I'm getting right back to where I started. And I'm just going to cut this thread off to start. Get that spacing gauge. Hook it around down here and then measure to see that I've got that exactly the way I want it. And I'm going to just do a few stitches back again. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because the way we're going to attach these onto that circle is with some fun buttons. And the button will cover that up right there. So you don't have to really worry about what this is. So if you just forward and back, and when you get back to the end, forward and back, you will be just fine. Now I go ahead and mainly, this is because I'm having a little trouble with that right hand right now. They're trying to tell me it's carpal tunnel, but I'm kind of fighting that terminology there. But I can't just sit down and do all of these. I think it's going to take about 12. But guess what? I've already made 9 of them, I think. So it's not going to take us much time to do this. And you're not going to cut clear into that center there. And if you're not sure if you could keep that, the right spacing, it's okay to go ahead and draw around there so you had a line or something to follow. So let me see how many hearts I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 9 now. So we need just 3 more. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this, and I'm making them so I can use either side. So I don't really have to worry about flipping this back and forth. They'll look good on both sides. I'm bringing this in here. And again, I'm using the 4-inch heart, forward and back. And I can tell you this is a whole lot faster than appliquing a heart. I want to measure that 1/4 inch. And cut that. And just so you know, let me tell you how much fabric you need. Of these 2 fabrics, you'll need 12 inches because you're going to use 2 6-inch strips. So 12 inches of the pink, 12 inches of the red, or whatever you're using as your 2 fabrics. You'll need 1.33 yards of the fleece. Now I use Pellon 987F. I think they probably think I must be feeding it to somebody because I use so much of that. And in that center part, the center circle, you'll need 5/8 of a yard. So that's what you're going to need for this project. If you do it the same size, you could do these any size. Obviously, you could even use some smaller hearts if you wanted to. It sounds like my scissors need a little bit of lubrication. All right, so there's 10. I think we can get 2 more out of this. If not, I'll be going to get some more fabric. All righty, here we go. This would be fun to use with some of the motifs. Like if you wanted to use my Christmas motifs, have the gingerbread that's in there. And I'm thinking of all kinds of things you could do this same kind of a project with. I don't think I'm going to get another one out of there. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that is so funny. It just started this afternoon. I was using them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and check to see if anybody's got any questions or anything real quick there, because you can see. Oh, you know what? I think I can get it, you guys. Let's go ahead and go from this end. We'll see what we get. Oh, I turned it around when I didn't need to. Oh, let's see. Oh, it's going to be close. We'll see, though. Ruthie, don't you knock those over. Don't you knock those over. It's a little close there, but we'll see. I used to be a perfectionist. I'm now a recovering perfectionist. All right. Will this be reviewable again as a video? Yes, it will, Linda. Yes, it's reviewable. Okay. Yes, and somebody's talking about, I think it's Deanna, about winding. Yes, great point. I have my machine set so it only winds at a medium speed. Don't wind it at a fast speed because it does cause your thread to stretch. And then it gets back into your project and it's not a good thing. So let's see what we've got here. So I've got my big circle, it's cut out. And again, as I said, what I plan to do is put these hearts so that they're pretty much just, I'm going to measure so I know exactly how far off of here. I want them at their widest point because what we're going to do is do every other one right around there like this. So what I'm going to set up here, I'm going to get myself enough space that I can work with this. And since we're done with our template, I'm going to put it back in its bag. And let's see if I just kind of lay these on here, if I can get an idea. Widest point. I'm waiting for one of those cats to take off with one of my hearts back there. So I am going to need some more hearts. So what I'm going to do here is see, we'll need one more, and it looks like that's going to be two more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you need 14 hearts. How appropriate. 14 hearts for February 14th. All right, let's get these hearts. And we're just going to randomly start somewhere. And what I want to do I think it's going to be easy enough to eyeball because that center right there is pretty much where the widest point is. And I am going to take a button and I am actually going to use that foot Believe it or not, I have done it before. And I'm going to see if I can get you guys up there closer to that. So if you want to actually take a straight pen and like take the center right there and put it right in that seam, see there's the seam there, then you'll know that's where you want that. Now, if you put them up in higher, you're going to have this showing. So that's why I suggested that you just put it so it goes right to that edge. Stick that right in there like that. And if it makes you feel more comfortable, you could definitely even position them all on there to begin with. So I've got that pinned in place. I'm going to take this fun button. And unfortunately, I don't have access to a bunch of buttons, so I can't put that in the kit either. So I'm going to put this so that the top of this button is just barely over where that heart, the stitching of that heart is. Now I'm going to switch to my buttonhole stitch or my button sew it on stitch, whatever you want to call it. Believe it or not, most of you have it. And it automatically lowered my feed teeth. And this foot is just perfect. I don't know if you can see down in there, but it's just perfect for positioning. And you just want to make sure that you do it slowly first because you don't want to hit anything. So I'm okay on that side. And let's just check it by coming up and going, and I'm okay on that side. So I'm just going to go back and forth, and this particular one knows how much, and it locks it. And now I just cut that off. So I have not only put the button on, but I've stitched the heart right in place where I want it to go. So let's get another one. Put it right in that spot and come right down to this seam. So you can see my pen right there. I'm just coming down to that seam, and I just want these to butt up against each other right there. And now I'm going to pin this one on. Like I said, you could go around and pin them all on if you wanted to. And again, I'm going to put that button so it just comes up a little bit like that. Put that foot down. And because this is a different button, you want to take a second to test it. Looks like we're okay. All righty. I'm going to pull that out. I'll cut this off, and I'll go back and cut the ones on the back off later. Take that pen, put it at the bottom of that little heart join there. I can move it over just a smidge. And the reason I'm pinning it, twice here, it's just a little hard. It's not going to move much. But when I sew that button on, I don't want it to go in an odd direction. So here we go. We've already got everything worked out, but I still take a second to make sure we're in a good spot there. Some of you may have to program that button stitching like that. but that's not hard. You may have to look at your instructs. This one is part of the programming that's already in there. Bottom of the heart. See where it needs to be sideways. See, we'll get this button. And the noise you hear on this one is because this button is a little bit thicker. And so that's what the sound on that is. You may want to test to see if your ruler work foot works okay that way. You may need to get out your button sewn on foot, whatever that might be. Some of you, you may not have one, but I can tell you this foot works really, really well for this. And those of you that are in my Ruler Work Stitches Club, actually it's the end of the block of the month with a twist. In other words, we've got this block and one more to go. This is the same fabric that was in your kit, which you may not have yet because they were mailed out like last Friday. But I'll be giving you more information as to when that class is. But this is the same fabric that will be in that kit. So you may want to make this to go with that project. And if anybody's interested in our Ruler Work Stitches box, when you go to my website, you can find information there. Because it's signups are this week and then it will be closed. It goes for a year. I think back to my very first machine. In fact, the machine I made my wedding dress on. Straight stitch. That was it. That's all I had. I know I'm dating myself by saying that. I just lost one of my straight pins. I don't like to lose those. I'll look later. Little kitty feet, pick them up. So as you can see, it's coming together. I'm looking to see if there's any comments. What's the diameter of this circle? I made a 20-inch circle, Linda. I used a piece of fabric that was 21 inches square, and I made a 20-inch circle. You could do any size that you wanted, but it looks like this one is going to work out really well for this with 14 hearts. So I'm just now kind of just taking my finger and like I said, you want to find the widest part of the heart. Ouch. Don't want it to bleed on that. That fits in there perfect. You could use more. I mean, you could use scraps for this, would be a great scrap buster too. But you could use, different colors to put that together. So what I'm going to do, because I'm a little over halfway, I am going to pin them all on to see if I need to make some sort of adjustments, because I don't want to come to the end and not have enough space for a heart. And again, you could use bigger hearts. This is a 4. You could use the bigger ones. That one's a little close, Donna. I'll move it over. Ooh, that's too high. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to measure, because it looks to me like I now need 3 unless one of my hearts has taken a ride. So from edge to edge, straight across, I have 8.5 inches. Ooh, looky there. I'm going to be good. I got like 8 5/8 inch. Oh, you can't see that. So here's what I measured, ladies. I went from here straight across, and it's 8.5. And if I come from here straight across there, it's 8 3/4 or 5/8 really. And so 2 more hearts should work in there just fine. I've got a couple of, I didn't bring all the fabric over, and I should have. It's still in the warehouse. But it's still part of that original measurement that I gave you. So let's go ahead and just start here. Oops, I hit the cutter. I say, I know I've got one more of those buttons. I got several. All right. So there we have. I need a couple more hearts. I'm going to go make real quick. And the thing that's cool about this is you could do some work in here too with your templates. So if you wanted to do, hey, we know where the center is. It's right there. Let's just do some. So I'm just going to take this and line that up. What I'm doing is lining it up right down here with the center. And that makes it the center over there. Let's see here. And I have spray starched this in the center. So I'm just going to take and make a mark with my, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make all 8 of them, but I think I'm really probably only going to do the 4. But they're there anyway if I need them. You can't see them, but I can see them. All right. So let's just go ahead and get out that 6-inch heart. It's a biggie, you guys. So we're already, I'm going to go back to ruler work. And I'm going to set it right there in the center. And I think I'll bring it up on this one. And right here is one of our lines. So let's just line that up. So I've got the line that's on my template lined up there. Now I'm going to turn it around mainly because it's easier for you to see and for me to line it up. And we're going to come right back. I'm lining up this line with where my center of my circle was. And when I'm doing this, do less first. Like I might say, well, I want to do all 8 of them. I don't know that. So I'm going to do the 4 first, and I'm going to skip over here and do the one that is opposite. Because that kind of stabilizes the whole project. And of course, you could do this before you add your hearts on if you wanted to. Let's see if I can line it up back there so that I can't see that far back there. So let's come around here. That's lined up. And now this is lined up. What happened? Oh, I broke my thread. Well, it's a good place to break thread. Foot up, because whenever you are rethreading, you want the foot up. And I'm going to come right back to where the center is because that's where she broke. Right there. And I'm just going to go back a couple of stitches right over that stitching and then back to where I was. Fortunately, I'm right there in that cute little cupcake and no one's ever going to see it. Going to come this way. Well, I got a little bit off there. Remember when you're making the small hearts to always start at the top of the heart, not at the bottom where I am right now, because that makes it easier for you when you cover up with your buttons. And of course, you wouldn't have to use buttons. You could use bows. If you were doing this as a Christmas project, you could sew on little bells there. So many different things you could do. So here I am back at the center. Now would be when I would decide, do I want to put one in between here? So I have hearts overlapping hearts. I think I'm just going to leave it like it is. So I'm going to go back and forth a few stitches and cut my threads. And that has now quilted that center. I'm not going to put a button in the center of that. I might put buttons up here because I want to use this so like I can either set a plant or a candle or something in the center. So I could put buttons in those positions, but I certainly don't want to put it right there in the center. So fun project. I hope you have enjoyed this. Again, easy. What ruler foot stitches club? Somebody's asking. This is something that you'll find out about on my website. That's sewbizmarian.com. The information is up there. It's a year-long subscription that we do 6 projects a year and really have a lot of fun. You get a template each month and we work with that template and then add to it. Hopefully that explains it, but if not, go to sewbizmarian.com. And then someone asked, am I using corduroy? No, I know it kind of looks like it, but it's not. It's all cotton fabric. Let's see. All right, I don't see anything else. Share your projects on Westalee by me so that people can see what you're making. And when you do that, just share with them that they can go back and watch this also, because this is going to be one that, like I said, you can do in so many different ways with so many different motifs here. Just a lot of ideas for this. So thanks for joining me, everyone. I always look forward to Odd Mondays to share any kind of ruler work related projects or templates or whatever with you. So thanks for joining me. Have a great couple of weeks. I think that's correct in saying that before I'll be back to see you on Odd Monday. Bye now.
Okay, now, who is looking for a full winter quilting experience? This Winter Elevate Quilt Box is available now through March 18th with options starting at just $75 through our club stores or $99 to try it. Each box includes over $400 with tools, fabric, thread, and guided projects with everything you need to stay inspired all season long. It's the perfect way to learn, to quilt, and to grow in your quilting experience this winter.